Okay, so we have here the real number system. So we're going to discuss about real numbers, and we're going to have as well exponents and scientific notations. So somehow I know you have already an idea of these real numbers since we discussed this one a few weeks ago. So naana tayo mga discussions about our real numbers. And then ato lang siyang ila-ilahon maayo kung unsa day ning mga real numbers, teacher. Or unsa ni atong real number system. Okay, so we are going to have first our real numbers. So in our real numbers class, it is a set of real numbers consists of the union of the set of rational numbers and irrational numbers. So, di ba, we discuss about rational numbers and irrational numbers naman. So, I will show you somehow a Venn diagram. So, here we have as you can see, naatay duha ka circle dire. So this one is a bigger circle, which is, it consists of rational numbers. Okay, and then on the other hand, we have here irrational numbers. So sa ato ang real numbers class, mag-start yun ni siya sa real number system, and then we have two circles, rational and irrational. And this rational and irrational class, nana siya each components. Okay, nana siya each components. So, ang rational numbers, nana siya duha ka circle nga makita diha. So, I think kuan lang ta diri no sa ato ang Jamboard. So that mas ma-identify ninyo pag-ayo. So, this one. So, you have there, naatay, di ba, ningon taog rational. So, natay rational numbers. Rn akong gibutang class ha, rational numbers, and this one is a rational number. Irrational numbers. And then sa ato ang rational numbers class, nana siya duha ka circle. Again, nana siya duha ka circle. So we have there our first circle, kay it consists of our integers. Ang kanang dako integers na siya, while ang kaning gamay kay mga non-integers. So, unsa ganitong integers class, di ba we discuss man about integers last time? Kani siya kay non-integers. So, unsa din ang mga integers, di ba? When we say integers, those are positive and negative numbers. So, naanapod na siya another circle nga ibutang diha. So, you have there negative numbers, and then you have there another big circle which composes of our positive numbers. So, kani siya negative numbers, and then this one is naatay positive numbers, naapod tay whole numbers, and we have as well our zero. Okay? So, sa atong rational numbers class, it composes of two, which is, or which are integers and non-integers. And for our integers, we have there positive numbers, whole numbers, and our zero. And we have as well our negative numbers. Okay, and then what is here in our what is here in our non-integers class? So, when we say non-integers, naa nato diha makita ang atuang percent, naatay fractions, and then we have as well our decimals. 'Di ba non-integers man na sila kay 'di ba you have their fraction. Ang atong integer kay whole number raman siya nga positive o negative. So you have there percent naa kay fractions and then naapod kay decimals. And then so as unsa man nga decimals ang naa sa ato ang non-integers class. So here in our non-integers, we have there only the repeating and non-terminating numbers. So meaning to say katong magbalik-balik nga mga numbers sa iyahang decimals. Okay? While here sa ato ang irrational class, ang masudra niya is katong gidiscuss nato last time. So katong mga non-repeating. Okay? Non-repeating kato ganing endless kaayo iyang answer. Katong daghan kay dot 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 pa sa kinatumyan kay wala man tay exact nga number. So mao na siya ang here sa tuang irrational numbers. You have there your repeating, non-repeating, and you have there non-terminating. Okay? Non-repeating, ano na ni siya? Non-repeating and non-terminating. So this is now our real number system. Okay, so ato siyang balikon ha. So here in our real number system, we have here it composes of two components in which we have there the Rn or the rational numbers and irrational numbers. And for our rational numbers, nanapod siya duha ka types. So we have there integers and non-integers. In our integers, we have here our negative numbers, and then we have our negative integers, we have our positive integers, we have whole number and zero. Okay? And for our non-integers, we have there the percent, fraction, and decimal. But for our decimal here, we have the repeating. So, kung mayon ganito repeating class mo na siyang, for example, 9.33333333. Mo na siya repeating. Okay? So, ari na siya mabutang sa tuang non-integers. While on the other hand, in our irrational number, gamay ra kay siya component because we have only here our non-repeating and non-terminating integers or decimals, not integers. Okay, katong mga 0.43169345 mo na siya mga non-repeating decimals. Okay, nasabtan ba ato ang real number system? Or naay questions? So, kanitanan natong gihisgutan diri class na discuss na ni nato sila in our previous discussion. Diba? We have rational numbers na, we have irrational, we have integers, we have fractions, decimals. So, you are already familiar with these words already. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, very good. Now, this time is mubalik na ta sa ato ang slide. So, in our real numbers class, we have here some properties that we can apply. And these properties as well are discussed or were discussed when you were in your lower years or elementary years. And we have also discussed some of this in our first grading. So we have here for any real numbers, A, B, and C. So we have here the name, the property, and our example. So we have here closure property of addition. So that is A plus B is a real number. So you know already what is a real number. So you have there 8 plus negative 3 is a real number. Because if you're going to add this one, 8 plus negative 3 pila class. Integers man na siya. Pilay result. Nakalimtan na si integers. Pilay answer sa 8 plus negative 3.
Positive 11.
Positive 11. Unlike signs man siya. Unsa gito itong buhaton? Basta unlike
Minus
sign.
siya, minus.
Yes. Sa pilay answer niya. Negative 11. Mag-subtract man ta kay unlike signs man
5,
sila.
5,
Negative 1.
Negative 1.
5, 5,
That
sure.
is 5. Hala, nakalimot na. Hala, kanabiyang integers kasi gamito na ninyo hantud college.
Remember ko, sure.
Okay, di ba? If we have their unlike signs and then kung plus siya, imo na siyang i-subtract. So, 8 minus 3, that is 5. And then you are going to copy the largest nga number niya o imong kopyahon niyang sign. So, since we have here positive 8 man ang dako, so positive po di mong answer. So, you have there positive 5 or 5. Diba? It is a real number because that is an integer. It can also be a whole number. And now for our next property, we have their closure property of multiplication. So A times B is a real number. So how about this one, class? Negative 5 times 8, pila? Negative 5 times 8,
Negative 40.
negative 40. Very good.
Remember ko kanang kung different signs sure kay negative sure no.
Yes.
Mayroon lang ko pa doon pero nakauna si Junel.
Okay, so in our multiplication and division of integers, if they have unlike signs, negative ilang answer always. And then if both of the signs are the same, like negative, negative, positive, positive, the answer there is positive. Okay, and for our next property, we have commutative property of addition. So you have there, when we say commutative is we're going to exchange their places. So you have there A plus B is equals to B plus A. So even though we're going to interchange their places, their answers are still the same. So 9 plus 8, 17, 8 plus 9, 17. So they are the same. That is commutative property of addition. And we have as well commutative property of multiplication. So A times B is equals to B times A. So 6 times 8, 48. 8 times 6, that is 48. Still the same. Okay? Remember, basta commutative, i-exchange ang places. But when we say associative property of addition, is you are going to use grouping symbols, or shall we say parentheses. So we have there quantity A plus B plus C is equals to A plus quantity B plus C. So ang first gigroup kay ang A ug B, and then sa pikas is ang B ug C. But their answers are still the same. 12 plus 7, 19. 19 plus 3, 22. Sa pikas, you have there 7 plus 3, 10. 10 plus 12, that is still 22. Remember, basta mag-solve mo ginani class, use gyapon mo sa PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay? So that is associative property of addition. And we have as well associative property of multiplication. So sa itong multiplication is, you have there A times, quantity A times B times C is equals to A quantity B times C. So our example here is 5 times 3, 15 times 2, 30. Here we have 5, and then this one 3 times 2, that is 6. 6 times 5, that is 30 again. So they have equal answers even though bisag unsa pa iyahang grouping symbols or asa ibutang ang atoang grouping symbols. And next one is we have their identity property of addition. Remember that an identity number of a addition or of an addition is always 0. So any number you're going to add with 0, the answer is still their identity. So for example, you have their 0 plus a that is equals to a. You have their 0 plus 14 that is 14. So ang identity number sa addition kay 0. While on the other hand, in multiplication, the identity number is 1. Okay, the identity number of multiplication is 1. So you have there 1 times a, that is a. So 1 times negative 3, the answer is negative 3. Okay, so don't forget this one class, the identity number. And for our inverse of addition, so when we say inverse, we're just going to change its sign for addition. So you have there a plus negative a is equals to 0. So ang atong identity property class, it should always equal to 0. Now you have there 6 plus negative 6 that is 0. So for example, imong given diha is negative 6. So imo ra siyang addan og positive 6. And then that is its inverse, ang positive 6. So bali ra nga sign niya. Negative 8 iyang inverse kay 8. Positive 100 iyang inverse kay negative 100. And now for our inverse property of multiplication. So ang sa multiplication class is you are going to get its reciprocal. Okay, mo na siya ang naka-difference sa atong addition o multiplication. Kung sa addition, nag-change ta sa sign, here in multiplication is we are going to get the reciprocal. So you have there a times and then 1 over a na siya, di ba? Ang kanang a ninyo kay a over 1 man na siya. So yung reciprocal is 1 over a. Okay? And then, if we're going to get the inverse, here in multiplication, kay makuha niya is equal to 1. Kay sa ato ang inverse sa addition, 0 man. And then, sa ato ang inverse sa multiplication, kay equivalent siya og 1. Okay? And then, you have there 4 times, and then, iyang inverse kay 1/4. Kay 4 over 1 man na siya, class. So, 4 over 1, inikabali na to niya, that is 1/4. So, manayahang inverse. So, another example, inverse of 16. That is 1 over 16. And then, kung ingnon ta, what is the inverse of 2/3? So, ang inverse, ano niya kay reciprocal. So, 2/3 times 3 over 2. That is equivalent to 1. And for the last property, we have there distributive property. So, distributive property na siya grouping symbols but this time is wala na siya plus o minus. So, matapad ra siya sa ato ang grouping symbols. So, as you can see here, we have A quantity B plus C. So, what we're going to do is i-distribute na to. So, A times B, na siya, and then A times C. So, we're going to distribute or we're going to ato gyud siyang ibinagsa og hatag sa naa sa ato ang grouping symbol. Okay? So those are all of our properties of real number system. So I know some of this you already encountered when you were in grade 6, grade 5, grade 4, especially kani mga identity property, commutative property, associative property. Okay, so far na questions.
None, Nurture.
Nanra. Okay, so very good. Why did we discuss about these properties class? Because in our next mga lessons, like mga December siguro, you can apply these properties in our equations. Okay, so maabot na tag mga equations class. So, Now, let's proceed with our exponents. So, 'di ba, what is exponent class? Asa na to makita ang exponent? Asa din na nato siya makita? Actually, na may kuan diha. Makita naman yung description. So, asa din na nato makita ang exponent? Asa na to makita ang exponent? Makita ba na to siya sa ubos or sa babaw or sa kilid or sa tunga sa usa ka number? Anyone? Any two?
I don't know, cha.
I don't know. We have here babaw. Actually, kanang nakita ninyo diha mo na siya exponent class. Um,
Ay.
kana siyang number nga naa sa babaw, mo na siya gitawag na tog exponent. Okay? So you have there, when we say exponent, that is a concise method of representing repeated multiplication. So, kung mayon ganitag repeated multiplication, gibalik-balik og multiply. So you have there 5 raised to the power of 4. You can read that one as 5 raised to the power of 4. You have there ang 5 atong kaupaton og multiply. Okay? So you have there 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. Okay? Dili na siya kuan ka sa 5 times 4. Dili na siya 5 times 4. Ang kanang exponent di mo diha is that is the number of times you are going to multiply the number by itself. Okay? So you have there upat ka 5 imong i-multiply. So 5 times 5, 25 times 5, 125 times 5, 625. So meaning to say 5 raised to the power of 4 is equivalent to 625. Okay? So you have to conjugate this one ha because lahi gid ang 5 times 4 og 5 raised to the power of 4. Layo kay silag answer. Ang 5 times 4, that is 20 only. And then
Murag
5,
ginakakuan man ko aning exponents katong grade 4, cha.
yeah, actually, nani sa inyong elementary ang exponents. Okay? So, you have there for any positive integer n, you have there a raised to the power of n is equal to a times a times a times a, where a is called as the base. So, kaning whole number ni mo dire kaning a, so kanang 5 ni mo diha, we call that one as our base. Okay? So, here, ang n na to is called as our exponent. So, kanang n. Feel ko di siya maklaro, no? Okay. Kana siyang n ni mo diha, that is your exponent. This one is the base. Okay? More na iyahang parts class. Base og exponent ra. Base, exponent. And then you have there your base, that is the number, and then your n, your exponent, which is, it tells you how many times you're going to multiply your base by its self. Okay, ang exponent ang mag-ingon kung kapila nimo siya i-multiply, imuhang base sa iyahang kaugalingon. Okay, so here in our exponents, we have some rules. So we have there, when an exponent is negative, it is defined as, for any positive integer n, you have there a raised to the power of negative n, you can write that one as 1 over a raised to the power of n. Okay, so meaning to say, class, basta negative ang iyahang exponent, imo siyang i-change into a fraction form para mahimong positive ang imuhang exponent. Okay? So from a raised to the power of negative n, you're going to change that one as 1 over a raised to the power of n. Okay, always dyan na siya nga 1 class ha. That is 1 over a raised to the power of n. Nasabtan? So that inigka-solve ninyo class, dali na lang kay ninyo ma-identify. Timan-an lang yun din ninyo, basta negative ang exponent, inyo ra siyang himuon og fraction form, which is 1 over a raised to the power of n. Okay, like for example, nakain ani nga given. This one. So for example, you have there this 7 raised to the power of negative 3. So if we're going to write that one para mawa iyang negative nga number, you can write, or negative nga exponent, you can have 1 over 7 raised to the power of 3. Okay? So mara na siya class. Inyo na siyang himuon og fraction form. Oops. Hello. Okay. Sige, na questions? Kayawan ko da, hapit ma-stop ang record.
Wala ra, sir.
Okay, wala right questions. Now, that is our first nga rules. Now, for our second one, so you have there for any non-zero number A. So, non-zero meaning to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ang yahang A. But kung ang yahang exponent gani class is equal to 0, that is automatically 1. Okay, automatically 1. So, for example, you have there 100 raised to the power of 0. That is 1. Okay? Bisag unsa nga number diha, bisag 1 million pa na siya class, or for example, 1,000 raised to the power of 0. Basta 0 iyang exponent, automatically 1 ang answer ana. Okay? Automatically 1 ang answer ana. Nasabtan? So that is for our second nga rule here in our exponents. Mara ninyong timan-an class, ang kanisya, ang a raised to the power of n, kung ano siya, mura siyang i-multiply, like normal in the exponents. But if negative ang exponent, you're going to change it into fraction form. If 0 ang exponent, always equal to 1. Questions? Clarifications? Violent reactions?
None, sir.
Okay, none. I hope idig ka pangutanan ako ani next week ha, dili kalimtan. Okay? Inig ka
Sir, I
pangutan.
will keep that in mind, sir. I will keep it in mind.
Okay, because useful gyapon ni siya sa inyong mga higher nga mga grade level. Ma-apply gyapon ni siya.
I think
Okay.
mamatay na ko na ni ka grade 9 siya.
Yuso, uy. Sayo pa kay na. Okay? So, you have there evaluate exponents. So, when we say evaluate exponents, this is the time that we are going to solve exponents already. Pero sa inyong makita diri is, ma-identify na dayon ninyo ang answer kay nawa man ang effects kay from kuan mo guni siya from PowerPoint to Google Slides, nawa ang effect niya. So, you have there, you can see 3 examples in which applicable ang katotong mga gidiscuss a while ago. So, class, remember ha, basta mo ingon na ganitag evaluate, that's the time nga magkuha na kasayahang final answer. Dili lang kayo, imo lang siyang imuog 6 times 6 times 6. When we say evaluate, you're going to get its answer or product na niya. So, you have there 6 raised to the power of 3. Okay, so how are we going to write that one? So, di ba, ningon man ta nga ka, kung pilang exponent mo sa datong i-multiply sa imuhang base. Ikapilaon nimo siyang multiply by itself. So, you have there, katuloon na to multiply ang 6. So 6 times 6 times 6. And then you're going to multiply that one, that is equivalent to 216. 36 times 6, that is 216. Okay, that is how you are going to evaluate. So class, please read instructions, good ha? So when the teacher will say evaluate, you're going to evaluate. Okay, or you're going to get the final answer. Dili ra mo stop diri sa 6 times 6 times 6. Okay? And for our next example, katong nanatay negative exponent. So you have there 3 raised to the power of negative 4. So that is equal to, di ba ningon man ta, basta negative ang exponent, ato siyang i-fraction form. So you have there 1 over 3 raised to the power of 4. So imo na siyang i-multiply ang kanimong 3 kaupaton. So you have there 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3, 9, times 3, 27, times 3, 81. So you have there 1 over 81. So meaning to say 3 raised to the power of negative 4 is equal to 1 over 81. And then, ang pinakasayon sa tanan, 9 raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1. Bisag unsa na nga number diha class, bisag billion pa na, basta raised to the power of 0, 1 yun iyahang answer. Okay?
Less than 3
Nasabtan?
million, sir.
Yes! Basta iyang exponent kay 0, 1 ra gihapon na siya.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, questions for evaluating exponents.
None na, sir.
Okay. Kung positive ang iyang exponent, diretso ra na siya class. Kung negative ang exponent, change to fraction. Kung 0 ang exponent, that is equivalent to 1. Okay? Dili libugon ang kaugalingon ha. Maora jud na siya. Okay. So, now is we are going to have another rules of exponents. So, we have here, oops, sorry. We have here 3 rules of exponents. So, for any non-zero real number A and any integers M and N. So, we have there 3 kabuok. But, ikabot ninyo grade 8 or grade 9 man siguro. Daghan pa kayo ni siya og mga rules class. Okay, so this time ato lang sa ilailahon ang mga basics. So you have there the product rule. So when we say product rule, this time is ma-apply na to ang multiplication, di ba? Kay product man siya. So if you have there your product rule class, a raised to the power of m, kanang m diha class exponent gyapon na siya ha. Pero na-change lang siya into m og n kay mag-add naman mag-multiply naman tag duha ka na ay exponent ani. So remember, if you are going to multiply an exponent class, so you have there a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n. Inyo rang i-add ang exponent ana class. So i-add ra nimo ang m og ang n. So you have there a raised to the power of m plus n. Okay, so nata example ani later on. That is our product rule. Don't forget, bisag multiplication pa na diha class, ang imong i-multiply ana is ang iyaharang kani, while ang iyang exponent is inyong i-add. Okay? Inyong i-multiply ana ang base ra, pero ang imuhang exponent imong i-add. And for our next one, we have here our quotient rule. So in our quotient rule is from the word quotient, so that is division, result of division. So you have there a raised to the power of m over a raised to the power of n. So kung division na gani siya class, ang buhaton ninyo sa inyong exponent is to subtract. So as you can see there, you have a raised to the power of m minus n. Okay, you have there a raised to the power of m minus n. And now, we have there our power rule. So, when we say power rule, sa isa ka given is nana siya exponent daan and then i-exponent pagid siya. So we have there, kung you have there your power rule, a raised to the power of m, and then raised to the power of n, that's the time nga mag-multiply na ka sa exponent. So you have there a raised to the power of m times n. Sa power rule, naka mag-multiply class. Pero sa product rule, i-add ra ni mong exponent. Sa quotient rule, i-minus ra ni mong exponent. So, sa ani ra nga forma ka mag-multiply. Okay? So, we have here three rules of exponent. Product rule, quotient rule, power rule. So, these rules of exponents consist of two or more exponents na. Unlike sa atong gi-discuss previously, which is ang given is usara and then we are just going to evaluate. Okay? So, questions for rules of exponents.
None.
None. Nasabtan
None.
ra? Okay,
Yes, sir.
very good.
Nasabtan ra.
So now, we are going to have here, we're going to do a simplification and evaluation of our rules of exponent. So, muna siya example class. So, as you can see, the same ang ilahang base, which is 3 and 3. So, kung same ang ilahang base class, you can copy lang. Okay? Copy the base and then i-add mo ang iyahang exponent. Kay this is, unsa ni siya nga rule class? Product rule, quotient rule, or power rule?
Product.
Product rule. Very good. So, ang atong buhaton is i-add na to yung exponent. So, you have there 3 plus 5. So, that is 8. So, 3 raised to the power of 8. And now, ato na din na siyang i-simplify. So, that is, ka 8 na to i-multiply ang 3. So, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 2, 4, 6, 8. So, ano siya? You have there 8 kabuok nga 3 and then that is equivalent to 6,561. Okay, so kani siya class mo ni siya tong simplify. Kaning 3 raised to the power of 8. But when we say evaluate, gikuha na nato iyang result. Okay? Ang simplify class kaning 3 raised to the power of 8. And then ang atuang evaluation ana that is 6,561. Okay, nasabtan unsay kalahian sa simplify og evaluate?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now for our next nga example, unsa man ni siya class? What rule? Product, power, or quotient? Okay, very good. We have a quotient rule here. So, sa atong quotient rule class, we have 5 raised to the power of 4 over 5 raised to the power of 6. So, ang atong buhaton niya class is mag-subtract ta. So, mag-subtract gani ka class, kuan na siya, numerator, and then minus denominator nga exponent. So, you have there 5 raised to the power of 4 minus 6. So, 4 minus 6, that is negative 2 man, di ba? Okay, you have there 4 minus 6 man. And then, your 5 raised to the power of 2, or negative 2, negative exponent man siya. So, ma-apply na to atong previous nga discussion. So, kung negative ang exponent, imo siyang himuog fraction form. So, that is 1 over 5 over 2. So, this is simplify. And then, kung ato siyang i-evaluate, that is 1 over 25. Kay 5 raised to the power of 2, 5 times 5 is equivalent to 25 man. Okay? Nasabtan ba, class?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Sige lang, kay maghatag man tag example later on and then mag-choose kuha kung kinsay mag-answer. Okay? And now, we have here for our last example here. So, 2 raised to the power of 3 raised to the power of 4. What rule?
Power.
Power rule. Very good. So, unsa kay atong buhaton basta power rule? Unsay buhaton nato sa exponent?
Multiply.
Okay, we're going to multiply the exponent. So, what will happen to 2 raised to the power of 3 times raised to the power of 4? Ato ring i-multiply ang exponent. So, you have there 3 times 4, that is 12. And then, just copy the 2. So, 2 raised to the power of 12, i-multiply nimo ang 2 ika-12. So, 2 times 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 2. And that is 4,096. Okay, nasabtan ra class ang mga examples.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so this time, it's your turn to shine. So, natay example diri, and then I want you to answer this. Okay, mag-asa ko first. Unsa ni siya nga rule? Lumabaw. Unsa ni siya nga rule? Unsa ni siya nga rule lumabaw? 4 raised to the power of 4 times 4 raised to the power of 2. Is it power, quotient, product? Okay, wala pa daw kaayo na gets. Sige, anyone, kinsay maka-identify unsa siya nga rule, that is product. So, product din ni siya ha, because we're using here multiplication man. Di ba ningon ta, if mag-multiplication, di ba ang result sa multiplication kay product? Okay. So, sige lang, katong mga wala pa kayo kakuan, maminaw lang sa taha. Okay. Now, we have here, since product rule man siya class, so what we are going to do with the exponent? I-multiply, or i-add, or i-subtract, or i-divide. Okay, we have from Derillo, which is add. So, kung atong i-add class, so ato lang kopyahon ang iyahang base ha. So, you're just going to copy the base. So, 4 plus 2. That is 6. So, mani siya ato ang pag-simplify. So, ato siyang gi-simplify. But what if kuhaon na to iyahang evaluation class? So, what if ato siyang i-evaluate? So, di ba that is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So, pila kaha siya class? Siya masud. So, you have there 4 times 4, 16. And then times 4, that is 64. Times 4 pag yun, 256. Times 4, that is 1,024. Times 4, that is 4,096. Very good. So, that is 4,096. So, this is another example of our product rule. Sige, questions?
None.
None. Okay, now let's go to another example. So, you have there 3 raised to the power of 4. And then you have there 3 raised to the power of 3. What rule we can apply here? Kavan. Unsa nga rule atong ma-apply?
Sure.
What rule atong ma-apply ani? Nga example. 3 raised to the power of 4 over 3 raised to the power of 3.
Wait sa teacher.
Sige.
Teacher, ako kay balo.
Okay, wala pa kay balo. So, unsa man ni siya nga kuan class? Unsa man ni siya nga operation? Okay, very good, Castañeros. That is quotient rule, di ba? Ang result man, if we're going to divide numbers, that is quotient. So, this is quotient rule. Okay? So, you have to know yun kung unsa ni siya nga rule so that maka-answer dayon ta. Okay? Now, this time class is what we are going to do with the exponent if we have quotient rule. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Very good. We have subtract. So, ato ra na siyang i-subtract la. So, di ba ningon man ta, numerator. And then, i-minus na to sa denominator. So, you have there 3 raised to the power of 4 minus 3. Pila result class? 4 minus 3.
1.
That is 1. So, i-multiply daw ni mo ka 1 ang 3. So, unsay ang answer? Unsay ang answer class? That is 3. That is now your evaluated answer. Okay, kay sa atong given ganina class no, di ba? Negative man to iyahang exponent. So, na-apply to na tong nag-fraction ta. Pero kani kay positive man yung exponent. So, diretso na dayon ta. Questions? Clarifications?
None.
One.
Okay, none. So, now let's have the last example class. This one. Okay, so what rule is this? Aribato. Sige, unsa siya nga rule? Product, power, quotient. Okay, we have from Aribato, product. Okay, class, sakto ang answer ni Aribato. Okay, that is power rule. So, di ba nigunta kung power rule gani duha yang exponent and then usaray ang base. So, what we're going to do class if we have power rule? Okay, very good. Mag-multiply ta. So, atong i-multiply iyang exponent. So, copy the base. And then you have there 3 times 2. That is 6. Okay. So, mo ni siya yung simplified form. But if we're going to evaluate, so, ato siyang if multiply ang 5 o ika 6 times. So, pila result plus? 5 times 5, 25. Times 5, 125 times 5, 625 times 5, 3,125 times 5, that is 15,625. Okay, so that is now your evaluated answer. Okay, class, dapat makaibaw ta kung unsay simplify o unsay evaluate. So, this one, mo ni siya simplify, pero this one is mo ni siya evaluate. Okay?
Okay.
Questions? Clarifications?
None,
Naatay
sir.
Okay, none. So, class, since we don't have time naman, So, for our next lesson nga scientific notation is I want you to study. Okay? So, study lang usa mo ani and then we're going to discuss this one next week. Okay, so for today, we have real numbers, properties of real numbers, and then we have exponents. Okay?
Yes, I'm
Not a
sure.
quiz, sir.
Okay.